Hi guys, it's Amy GablesStitcher here with a stitching update video. Today is February 23rd, 2021, and it's been a while since I've come back to see you. My last video update was the beginning of January, and that was a whip parade, and that for me was so much fun to film. I really had a blast taking out all of my projects, seeing them all, touching, feeling the fabric and the floss, and just really falling back in love with all of them again. I am a very tactile stitcher. Like, I love the feel of the fabric and the floss, and I have pictures of all my whips in an album on my phone, but it's not the same seeing them as it is pulling them out and touching them. So that was a lot of fun, and I have worked on a couple of those really old whips since then, which you'll see when I go through what I've been working on. I think most of you like that too, like the whip parade too, from the comments and all the likes. And thank you so much for watching and going down that journey with me. Since then, life has been life. It's been kind of crazy here. There's been a lot going on. Not going to get into it. Kids have been home at school, just, you know, it's still been kind of that pandemic life going on here. So not as much stitching as I probably would normally do in 6 weeks, but still quite a bit to show you. What I don't have to show you is any finishes. People will talk about if they are a process motivated stitcher or a finish motivated stitcher. Which motivates you, getting those finishes or just working on a project? And I really feel like I'm a little bit of both. Like, I love a finish, but I love big whips. And my favorite part of stitching a project is probably the middle part of that project, where I am really comfortable with the pattern and the design, and I can just really enjoy the stitching and the zen of the stitching and really just relax and enjoy the project. Lucky for me, I have a lot of projects that are at that point. But it's almost March. I need to finish this year. So I did pull out something that's close to a finish to work on, which I'll show you, but I have no finishes. So what I did instead is I pulled out a previous finish, an old finish, to show you. So I was thinking about this project last week, and then I think Sunday it popped up on my Facebook timeline as a memory from when I finished it. So I said, perfect, this is the one to pull out. So this is the Teresa Limpasis sampler. I finished this in February of 2018. Teresa stitched the sampler in 1901. And this is a really kind of unique sampler, and this is a special sampler to me. So the red sampler, gotta love a red sampler. But this is a sampler that's in Greek. So Teresa was from the North Shore of Massachusetts. She was born in Salem, Massachusetts. She lived a lot of her life in Lynn, Massachusetts, and she was the daughter of Greek immigrants. And this is her Greek American sampler. I stitched it on 40 count linen with red silk in the colorway, I believe it was Heartland. And it's a hand-dyed fiber from Vicki Clayton. I am the daughter of Greek immigrants. My father's side of the family is Greek. And as most of you know, I am also from the North Shore of Massachusetts and Salem and the surrounding areas. So it was really, I felt such a connection to the sampler while I was stitching it, and I was sad to finish stitching it. So wanted to share this previous finish with you. Right now it does hang in our house, and I always say I'm gonna have a sampler wall. I don't have one yet. But when I do, this will be on my sampler wall. And yeah, like I said, I really love stitching that, and I am looking forward to stitching more samplers from my family ethnicity. Greek is one part, but I have other nationalities in me as well. I don't know of any other Greek samplers. If anyone does, they could comment below, because I would love to stitch another one. Like I said, I really felt a connection with that sampler. So in lieu of any current finishes, I wanted to share a special previous finish with you. So let's get on to whips. I have, I think, 8 or 9 whips. So first one, these are in no particular order, except for the first one, which is the one I just finished working on. So this is last to first, I guess, but it's really not. So this is a whip I forgot to put in my whip parade. This is an old trilogy chart. Had this, I think, in my stash for quite a while. This was actually a little kit. I started this the end of December of 2020 because I was still in the mood to stitch Christmas, and I didn't really have any Christmas whips at that point. So I pulled this out. The kit was all together. Forgot to put it in my whip parade, but it's probably not a big deal because my guess is this is going to be my first finish of 2021. So this is a 32 count linen. It's not natural, but it's kind of that color. It's this Weigart, but I have no idea what color it is. It is stitched with the called for Classic Colorworks, which came with the kit. And this is where it is. I've been calling it Yule. I don't know if it actually even has a name. So all I have left is the rest of the border around it, the rest of this tree, and a few specialty stitches and a charm. So I'll hold that up so you can see it. Fun stitch, cute. So I am going to put this in the car after this video, because instead of playing on my phone while I'm waiting in carpool pickup 4 days a week, I could probably finish this in the next week or so. That's the other reason I think my stitching time is a little bit less, because my kids used to take the bus to school. This year I've been driving them, and instead of making productive use of my carpool time, I've been playing on my phone. So let's try to do some stitching. Let's see if that helps. So my next whip is, this is in black and white because our printer likes to eat up color ink. So this is the Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty 2021 stitch along. It's not a mystery stitch along because this is what the design will look like, but every month you get one part of it emailed to you when you purchase it. So this was January, this was February. So our printer, like, we have a color printer, but you know that gif where the girl from Little Rascals is like throwing money out the window? Like, that's kind of what our printer does with color ink. So most of the stuff I print out is in black and white. But I am going to show you the color version of it now. I am stitching this with 2 colors of DMC. I am stitching it with 3750 is my dark colorway and 932 is my light colorway. I'm stitching it on an alabaster Weigart linen, which is a 40 count. So I'm just going to hold this up against the linen so you can see the 2 threads to start. So the alabaster does not show up well on camera. It's a neutral. It's like a cool neutral. It's like a white with a little bit of gray in it. It really does look like a marble. And I'm caught up. I am so excited about this. I never keep up with the stitch along. And this is a serious stitch along. Like, there's a lot of stitching in this. but it is so much fun to stitch and I love it. So January and February are complete. So that is the Fruits of Plenty Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 stitch along. Love it. I'm really having a good time stitching on this. It's taking me quite a bit of time to stitch each block, but that's okay because I really, like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's a big project. It will take up most of a fat quarter of 40 count. But what did I just say? I like big projects, so it is perfect for me. Next project. Excuse the crinkle because it's in a bag. Well, actually just the pattern is. So let me show you. You can probably see it through the glare. This is Halloween Quaker by Lilah Studio. Michelle Bendy, who, if you've watched any amount of Flosstube, I'm sure you know Michelle Bendy. Michelle has started a stitch along for Halloween Quaker. She's been stitching it for quite a while. This is her oldest WIP. She wanted to finish it, and so she started a stitch along group doing some Zoom meetups. I'll link her video below. So Michelle Bendy Stitcher, because she is having some Zooms if you're working on Halloween Quaker and would like to work on it together. That's the requirement. You have to be working on this project, but otherwise I believe it's open to everybody. So I did a Zoom with Michelle Bendy and about 20 other stitchers, and it was great because I had no plans to work on this project. But when someone else says, I'm going to work on this project, do you want to work on it with me? I said, sure. And I pulled it out and I loved working on it. So I am stitching this project with all the called for, which is unusual for me. This is a 40 count Murky by Picture This Plus, the fabric, and the fibers are mostly Classic Colorworks and then some DMC put in. So here is where I am. I started this in August of 2020 and I finished this motif up here and I did this motif here. So I worked on this for about 3 days. So I really, really am enjoying working on this. So that's WIP number 2. So if you're working on this and would like some camaraderie, some company, go watch Michelle Bendy Stitch's latest video. Next WIP. This next WIP is a mystery stitch along. So last year in 2020, I started, and have not completed yet, the I Stitch, I as the letter I, Stitch Designs Burgundy Band Sampler. This year for 2021, the I Stitch Sampler Stitch Along is the Jade Sampler. And this is what it looks like thus far. So week 7 was just released and I am caught up. I'm so excited. Can you tell? So I'm going to get my face out so you can see it in all of its glory and in focus. So I am stitching this on banding that is 28 count. It is ivory, and I don't know if you can see in the border, there's like a little, there you can see it. It's a little like braid decoration. It's really pretty. This is stitched over 1 on 28 count, and I am stitching it just with DMC. I believe it's 561. And how this works, there is a Facebook group called I Stitch Designs, and I will try to link it below. So the person who designs it, she does not have like a Etsy store or anything. You email her, pay her, I think it was $20 or $25 for the year. And then once a week, you get mailed, on every Friday, you get emailed a piece of this band sampler to stitch. And the sampler, the stitch along goes for 28 weeks. And there's typically a bonus chart at the end, which is probably the equivalent of about 8 to 10 weeks. So it doesn't quite go the whole year, but it goes through like August. It would take you about a year to stitch it. So it's really a lot of fun to stitch. And I'm caught up on 2 stitch alongs. That happens like never. So it is only February, but I'm going to enjoy it while I can. And I'm really, really going to try to stay caught up on both of my stitch alongs, both of them. I'm not even going to say especially one over the other. We're going to try to stay caught up on both of them. My next project, so I mentioned that the 2020 stitch along was the burgundy band sampler, and I have not quite yet finished that, but I did pull it out to work on. So I'm just gonna through. These run about 100 centimeters in length. And I am nearing the bottom of this one. So I am on it's 28 weeks. I think I'm on week 26. So I have 2 more weeks and then the bonus chart. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do the whole bonus chart. We'll see. But I'll just play it by ear because it's a band sampler, right? So you can leave out a couple of bands or you can add a couple of bands. One of my friends, Becky, she added some bands on hers and it looks stunning. So I'll hold it back. There we go. So the 2021, this I would like to finish in March. I would like to. So I'm not making any promises, but let's see what we can do. So here's where I am. Each piece that you get is probably like a couple of hours of stitching. I think the the design is like 68 stitches wide, and you probably get 30 stitches lengthwise. So like I said, it's a lot of fun. It is over 1, but it's 28 count. The holes are pretty big and it's just a lot of fun. It's good to have fun with your stitching, right? No matter what it is. Next project. Remember I said I pulled out some old whips? It's an old one. Mirabelia Halloween Fairy. So my friend Julie, Kansas City girl in Colorado world, had a birthday in January and she was starting a fancy lady. I did not start a fancy lady, but I pulled out a fancy lady to stitch on with her on her birthday, and I had so much fun, I stitched on it for a few more days. So this is a kit. It was out of print for a while, but I think they're redistributing it, and I've seen it on 1, 2, 3 stitch. So they were hard to find, the fairies, but I think they're coming back. I gotta be honest, when I was doing my whip parade, this project was one of the ones that I was not looking forward to working on again. So, but I pulled it out, figured I would give it a day or 2 and see what happens. And I fell back in love with it again. So let me hold it up. This is where I am. So I basically did, let me see, I did the arm. I think I did what was here. I did all of this up here, the bodice and the arm. The skirt was there. I did a bunch of the bottom of the skirt. And I did the whole legs and leaves. This is not stitched on the kit fabric. I saw it stitched in an L&S on a purple opalescent even weave. So I had to have the purple even weave. So that's what I'm stitching it on. It's called for like a natural Zweigart linen. Excuse me, not Zweigart, it's just called for natural linen. So there I am. And this is the beginning of the wings coming in. So I was not looking forward to stitching on this. And while I was stitching on it, I realized why. I mentioned in my whip parade that I went about 5 years without stitching. And this was the last project I stitched on before I stopped stitching. And I had a really hard time stitching on this project. I remember getting very frustrated. I was having a hard time reading the pattern. The floss was giving me problems. And I didn't want to stitch. I put it away and I thought that was going to be the end of stitching for me. And when I pulled it back out and I sat down, I didn't really want to like unravel the problems that this project had in it. It didn't take me that long. And once I started stitching it, I did fall back in love with it again. So I am glad I kept this project. I think the reason why I did not enjoy stitching on it at the time is because I had 3 little kids. I was really stressed. And I think I was a little bit depressed too, and I just couldn't focus. So once I pulled it out, I fell back in love with it again. Really glad I kept it, and I'm really glad I came back to stitching. But I don't feel like this is too far from a finish. Like, I could be wrong. There's big wings and there's a head, but that's all I have left. So this could be an unexpected finish for the year. It was not something I planned on finishing, but plans are meant to be broken and changed, right? Right. So Inauguration Day was in January, and I was planning on having an Inauguration Day start, and I did. So a lot of people started Blackbird Designs Oh Joyous Day, and I really thought about starting that because I have it kitted up. But instead, I started a new constellation by Plum Street Samplers. And I love this chart. I had seen this before it was released when it was just a club kit. I think it was a class. It was Paulette taught a class. And I saw somebody was stitching it, and I just fell in love with it, and I could not wait for it to be released. So I started this on Inauguration Day. I am stitching it with all the called for fibers, which is mostly, it's Classic Colorworks, a few weeks, and some DMC. And this is where I am. Not too far. This is a 36 count Picture This Plus fabric in the colorway Vellum, which was one of the new 2020 releases. This is not a huge project. Like, it fits on, I want to say, a fat eighth, but it's a dense project. It's a lot of stitching. So that's what I have done. So not a huge 36 count linen stitcher. I tend to like 32 if I'm going with something that's not 40, because I find 36 is kind of a funny count sometimes, where 1 thread isn't enough and 2 threads is too much. But this has a lot of fill-in and it has a lot of over 1. So I went with a 36, and I think it's going to be fine. So I would like to get back to stitching that too. All right. This the last whip? This is the last whip. Last whip is my green blanket, Permin 1830, Sampler 1830 by Permin of Copenhagen. So the project I refer to as my green blanket. So this is an old legacy whip. This, I think I started in 2005. I'm not sure. I know I had 1 child. I don't think I had 3 children. So around 2005. So I'm going to hold it here first so I can show you what I worked on, and then I'll hold up the whole thing. So this is stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen. I think it's mocha. Like I have no idea what color it is, but it's not flax, it's not natural. And what I stitched was this motif here, this motif here, this motif, this motif, this motif, and obviously I'm in the middle of starting this motif. And can I just say that, like, this motif here is my favorite motif. Like, that's my spirit animal right there. She's a mermaid. She has a barbed, like, prickly tail. She is holding a lion in one hand, and she has, like, a pitchfork in the other. Like, how cool is she? Love her. Need to give her a name. So, anyways, my plan was to work on this one thread a day through the month of January and February. That did not happen, but I worked on it about 5 days in January. No, I didn't. I worked on it probably 3 to 5 days in January. And I'm going to work on it again this coming week in February. So this is the halfway point. Like, this motif here is half in the top part and half in the bottom part. And I'm going to hold up the whole thing so I can show you what the whole thing looks like right now. So here we are. So my plan of attack for this is to completely finish the top half. So I'm going to come back over here and finish that motif. And there's a motif underneath my barbed spirit animal. And finish that so I can get the halfway point done. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to fill in this part so I can get the halfway. This chart is not difficult to read. I do have to say that because it's only printed on 2 pages, like coffee table size, even bigger pieces of paper, and there's no overlap between the top and the bottom. So it's a little bit of a pain to go between, the motifs, when the motif's cut in half and you're dealing with 2 pieces of paper that are huge, it's a bit of a pain. I think that's kind of why I've lost a little bit of my mojo on this. But I really would like this to be finished this year, 2021. So this is going to get some love the rest of this month. 32 count Belfast linen, and it's stitched with DMC 931. No, 934. And I lied. I have one more whip. This was my new year, new start. My name is Amy. I like big whips. I cannot lie. This is And They Sinned by Exemplar Dames. I am stitching this with a bunch of Frugal Yankee stitchers. And this is big. It'll be about the same height as me when it's done. This is an out of print chart. Somebody commented on one of my videos about how, like, it was too bad it was out of print, but it's out of print, but it's not that hard to find right now. Like, it could change, but I frequently see it up for sale on eBay and like the stash unloading sites for a good price. This was about a $30 chart new, so it wasn't an inexpensive chart to begin with. And I typically see it about that on the secondary market right now. So, And They Sinned. I am stitching this on a 40 count linen in the colorway Country Mocha. I'm stitching it with my own conversion. It calls for, I believe, mostly classic colorworks. I pulled the 2 I had, and then I pulled the DMC, and I went through my fancy floss that I have, which is mostly Victorian Mono, and made a conversion. And this is my progress. So don't be blown away because it's not ready for the framer yet, but I'm going to put it in so you can see. This is a lot of fun to stitch. I gotta say that I am still tweaking the colors. And I am being kind to myself and taking notes so I remember what I used. but I'm just subbing in some DMC if I don't like what I have. And I'm just making a game by game, you know, like game day decision. When I see something and I stitch it, doesn't look quite right, after a few stitches, I'll pull it and I'll add something else in. So that's where we are. And this is the other project I'm going to stitch on the rest of this month. Where did I put my picture? So you can see how far I've actually gotten, right? So I'm at the very top of that. But I am loving it. This does take like a linear yard, like a skinny half of fabric. There are some places that cut skinny halves of fabric. I end up buying a yard because Country Mocha, 40 count Country Mocha is one of my favorite neutrals, so I knew I would use it. But lots of fun. That's been a fun project to stitch. So if you have it and like you've always wanted to stitch it, pull it out. And if you feel like I missed the train because it's out of print, you didn't, because I see it all the time in the secondary market, and as of now it's not that expensive, so you still have time. All right, so I'm going to talk a teeny bit about plans. I have a giveaway. How long has it been since I filmed a regular update video? I had to go back like 2 videos to find my giveaway, and I am so sorry that I did not do it before then. But I don't like to do it on those special like whip parades and stuff, because I kind of feel like those videos sometimes stand alone. Like you might watch a whip parade, not in sequence, and then there's like a giveaway winner and you're like, well, when did that happen? So I kind of wanted to keep it consistent to a regular video update. So quick plans, and then we'll do the winner and I will show you a little bit of haul. Plans for the rest of February. My goal is to get back onto an every other week filming schedule, because that works best for me, where I can show you my 3 or 4 projects, talk about what I'm going to work on, and show you a little bit of other things I've been doing, maybe talk about books again, because I'd like to talk about books, and have a nice 30-minute video. So my goal is to come back at the beginning of March. So between now and the beginning of March, my plan is to work on that little Yule project in the car instead of playing phone games and doom scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, and to work on my green blanket, which is the Perman Sampler 1830, and to put a few days into And They Send. Sorry about that. No one calls me until I film a video, and I never remember to turn it off before I start. So we're going to work on that for next time. So I just finished telling you that for the end of February, I am going to work on Yule in the car, and Sampler 1830 and They Send are going to be my project for the rest of the week. March, I am going to have a new start on March 1st. I had told you about that Greek sampler, about how much it meant to me. Well, my friend Abby Bella Stitch, it's ABI, she is starting a stitch along in March. For the whole month of March is called #StitchAsia. And it is a way to show some love and appreciation and support for Asian stitchers, designers, and family and friends who are Asian and of Asian descent. And since the start of COVID-19, some people have not been super kind to those individuals. And this is a way for me as a stitcher to show my love and appreciation and to support those friends and family members that I have who are of Asian descent that I love dearly. So I am going to start modern folk embroidery. Let me hold it right side up so you can see it. This is a Japanese sampler. It's not a reproduction sampler, and I'm going to try to pronounce it. It's a Japanese haranga sampler, and I love it. So it's not huge. It's, I want to say it's like 110 by like 80. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I will be using the hashtag StitchAsia. I haven't pulled floss and fiber yet. I will show you on my next video update, which I really hope will be the beginning of March. Now, if you go look at Abby Bella Stitch's Instagram page, she's been showing examples of Asian designs and Asian designers too, like Lilah Studio. That is, the designer is, I believe, from the Philippines, as Abby is. So there's so many options out there if you want to join in on that stitch along. Another start, it's supposed to be finishing stuff, right? Not starting. But another start I want to do in March is from Luminous Fiber Arts, the Gathering Berries piece from last year. And the sneak peeks for the virtual market are coming out, virtual expo. And Misty, who's the designer behind Luminous Fiber Arts, has a companion piece coming out that looks really cool. But a friend of mine loaned me this chart, and I pulled out a piece of fabric that I am frogging out a design I decided not to continue with. And I am going to use, oh, I think I have it over here. Can I reach it without knocking anything on the floor? This is 32 count something that is not Zweigart linen. I am going to use Sulky Blackwork. I have never used a Sulky. I am looking forward to it. To trying it. You only need one strand on 32 count, and I much prefer stitching with 1 strand of floss, so we're gonna give that a try. And then when I come back for my next video, what I did for February is I picked out which projects I wanted to work on, and I worked on them for 3 to 5 days. I'm going to plan on doing that for March, because I like doing that, because if I pick out which projects I want to work on, I'm less distracted by other things, and I can get some work into some of my older projects. So I'm going to come back at the beginning of March, and I'm going to show you what I plan on working on in March. So, but that's the plan for the next week or so. Giveaway winners. So, as I said, it's been too long, and I apologize. And I will go back and comment on the winners' comments in that video from December. I use the random YouTube comment picker, and I will put the screenshots in here as I say them, because I did it on my phone and I am filming on my phone. So I will put the screenshots in. So the first one is this project from my Big Toe Designs. It's called Quaker Harmony. And there were 32 people who entered to win this chart. And the winner was Tracy Baker. So thank you so much for watching, Tracy. And I will comment. My email link will be in the box below. And I will also comment with my email, reply to your comment with my email. So hopefully you'll see that and email me so I can get your address to mail this to you. And the Virtue Sampler from Hillside Samplings, I asked the people to use the word hillside, and there were 25 people who used that. And the winner for Virtue Sampler was Lisa Humbert. So thank you, Lisa. And same thing, email me, send me your address, and I will get that out to you ASAP. So I have a few other charts that I've pulled. I want to give these away before I start giving away other ones, because I've been so delinquent, but more of those to come. So thank you so much, guys, for entering, and I can't wait, and I hope you enjoy stitching on those projects. So I am going to do a teeny tiny bit of haul. I know haul isn't everybody's thing, so if you're exiting now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I love coming to share what I've been working on with you. And if you want to see a little bit of haul, just sit on back and you're still in the right place. So a couple of things. One, there was a great freebie that came out this week. It's from Whilst Irish Naps Designs. And once again, black and white, because my printer throws money out the window every time I use color. These little carrot and bunny pillows. How cute. So cute. So Whilst Irish Naps Designs. So you can Google that and find these. I didn't realize that she's a floss tuber. So I'm going to put her video in the link below. I actually haven't watched her yet. She has a few videos out, but she's put out a couple of great, really nice free designs. So go show her some love. So I love those bunny butts. The carrots too. Like it's just really cute. I went to my local needlework shop a couple of weeks ago. A little birdie had told me that she got some 40 count seraphim fabrics in, and I love some seraphim fabrics. So my local needlework shop is The World in Stitches, which is in Littleton, Massachusetts. It's not super local, but it's local enough where I can, you know, drive there. So I bought a few different pieces of fabric, but this one piece I'm going to show you is a small piece. Look at that. This is called Poinsettia. And it is gorgeous. It's coming off a little pink. It's not really pink. It's like a deep red with a little bit of some modeling on it. It's gorgeous. And you're thinking, what in the world, Amy, are you going to stitch on that? And I'm going to show you. This wasn't my idea. This was somebody at The World in Stitches, Randy, the owner. I believe this was her idea, and I thought it was fabulous. So I am going to jump on that bandwagon. This is an older chart. I've actually had this chart for a while, and I was planning on stitching it on green fabric with green floss, but Randy then said that she was going to stitch it on this poinsettia fabric with like an ecru or an off-white. How amazing. So she's using an MPI, silk. I'm probably going to use DMC, like 3865, maybe a little bit too white. So maybe, is that something in the 960 range, 968, I think. I don't know, but that's going to be gorgeous. So that had to come home with me. While I was there, I did pick up one chart. I don't need any charts, but that red work sulky that I showed you, yeah, this was calling. So something about red, like red fabric, red floss, red patterns. I think I may have said in my videos, I don't know if I said in the videos or I was talking about people with online, for Christmas, my husband asked me, what do you want? I said cross stitch, of course. So he wanted to know what I wanted for cross stitch. So something that I had been wanting to do, and I've been kind of eyeing and making myself a card, was I wanted to order a couple of kits from mybobbin.com. I'm not sponsored at all by mybobbin. I'm not sponsored by anybody. My videos are ad-free. I don't get kickbacks from anybody. Like this is just me sharing what I love. MyBobbin is a cross-stitch, well, needlework supplier in Russia. And they ship to the United States very reasonably. I believe over $50 you get free shipping. And they have some really cool kits. And I've been eyeing a few of the kits. So I told my husband that for Christmas, I'd like a couple of kits. So it did take a while to get here. I don't know which end it was on because he ordered it in November, like Thanksgiving weekend, end of November. We got it in the middle of January. Most likely it was on more on the United States end than it was on the Russia end. But they finally came, and I've been a good girl and not started either one of them because I have a million whips. But I can't wait to start these. So this first one is a Riola's kit. I have wanted this kit for a very long time. It's so pretty. And I thought this was on blue fabric. It's not. Like, this is essentially a full coverage design. But it's gorgeous. And I have never done a Riola's kit. But I hear they're great. So they put their floss on these little cardboard big bobbins. They're all numbered. And they're like an acrylic, like some of them are like regular floss and some of them are like a little bit fuzzy, like an acrylic fuzzy. And yeah, I cannot wait to start that. But I'm going to hold off and be good, but can't wait to stitch that. And then the other chart, this one I don't think I opened. This one is an anchor kit, Maya collection. And these I think are pretty much like European distributed. I've never seen these in the United States. The Riola sometimes you can see in the United States. I've never seen the anchor Maya collection in the United States. How pretty is that? I love it. Full coverage. It's huge. So I'm not going to start anytime soon. And this has all the floss in it. It comes with Ada, and the floss that you don't need a full skein. You can kind of see it. Sure, it's not a floss card. So this is a Thomas Kincaid painting, and I don't know what count Ada it has. It looks like 16 count. The other one looks like 16 count too. So that was my Christmas gift from my husband. It came in January, which is fine. And I'm really excited to start it. One other piece of fabric I got at the World in Stitches is another piece of Seraphim. This is called Boston. And I don't think, not going to give it justice. This looks like what you think of, maybe like ocean water. It's like a bluey gray color. Really pretty. If you haven't tried Seraphim fabrics, I would encourage you to try them because her colors are gorgeous. The feel is fabulous. Just really nice. And one more thing. I have friends, Peggy and Roberta. When I was doing my whip parade, I'd mentioned that most of my project bags were from friends of mine, Peggy and Roberta, who do have a little Facebook group called BFF Bags. They had a Super Bowl sale. So, because all the retreats that they were going to sell their bags at got canceled, as we know. So, I treated myself to a few bags. Yes, that is Maleficent. Dragon. Love it. So you can see the fabric on the inside. I don't buy project bags often. When I do, they're typically from Peggy and Roberta. I love their big project bags because they have like a flat bottom, like you can fit a lot in them. So I could have used my sampler 1830 needed a big project bag. Well, it didn't need. I mean, Ziploc works fine too, but let's face it, I wanted it. So really cute. So they do both size kinds. They do like the pouch. These they technically call, I think, one of them we call a bag, one of them we call a pouch. These are the flat ones that a lot of people make, which I love. It's great. But I love these too, because you can really fit a good amount in this and put in, you know, your floss and everything else. So, and I was a good girl. I didn't use them until I showed them. So that is it. If you hung along around this long, thank you so much. Thank you so much for continuing to come back and continuing to watch me show my stitching and get all excited about needle and thread and fabric. So I hope to be back, like I said, beginning of March, to talk about my March plans. Something else I really want to do is I kind of want to do a library tour. A lot of people will ask me about this room, and they'll ask me are the books organized and what does the rest of the room look like. So I might do a Flosstube extra of a library tour. And one of the reasons I want to get back to doing every 2-week videos is so I can talk about a book in every video at the end, because I do read a lot, but I don't like doing videos that are more than 30-45 minutes. So I haven't talked about books recently. But that's it. Happy stitching, everyone. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.